Taking the bumper off. I'm not looking forward to this because I know getting the screws out is bound to be difficult. With old cars, undoing anything is always a problem. On this model, which I now think is a Mark 2.5, there are 10 places the bumper is fixed. 2 7mm bolts, which are sort of just under the tailgate at the top of the bumper, and 4 Torx screws so 2 under each wheel arch is what you need to take out. And completely underneath the car at the back of the bumper, there are 2 flanges, and there's 2 Phillips screw sort of things in there. So you need a Phillips screwdriver. You undo those, and they sort of push the plastic out. So they're little plugs. So you undo the screws, and the plugs will come out. And then once you've done that, you go back to the wheel arches, and there's a 10mm bolt on both sides on the corner behind the wheel arch, which you need to take out. Taking the bumper off has turned into a nightmare, as I knew it would. The 10mm bolts are the problem. Other people have mentioned these bolts, and yes, I'm having a problem with the bolt just spinning. The first one, I managed to get it undone so far, sort of halfway, and then it's just spinning. I had what I thought was a good idea. Behind the bumper is this plastic spacer that just keeps it in shape. So I thought what I would do is draw a hole through the plastic at just about the height of the bolt, so I could put a 10mm spanner on the other end and be able to hold the bolt and stop it spinning. Brilliant, I thought. But I drilled a hole, shone a torch in, and discovered that the bolt is a captured bolt and I can't get to the head. A captured bolt, meaning the head of the bolt, is held, in this case, in plastic, and you should only need one spanner to undo the nut. However, over time, the nuts and bolts have corroded and are hard to get off, even if you use WD-40. And I sprayed a lot of WD-40 on this and left it for a while. What happens is the captured end starts to spin because you're putting so much pressure on the nut to try and turn it. It doesn't turn, and it turns the bolt as well. And of course, the plastic is soft, and then it just wears its hole in the plastic and stops spinning. Luckily for me, on the other corner, the bolt head came out of the plastic. Where I'd been turning it, it had kind of worn itself through it. I also noticed the spacer has been broken there, so I don't know if something happened before I got the car. Because the bolt head had pulled through, I could see what I was working with. Now that I was going to need to come up with a new way to reattach the bumper, I decided to cut the other bolt off. I had already spent 5 hours trying to get these off without damaging them. Plus, when the bolt did come off, I tried to get the nut off, and it was not going to come off even when I could get to both ends. It was just so badly corroded on the end bit. So I took the back wheel off to give myself more room, got my reciprocating saw and cut the other bolt off. Now for the repair of the bumper. Because I cut the bolts off, I need to replace them. Luckily, there is enough room behind the spacer on the bumper for me to squeeze a 10mm bolt behind and push it through the hole where the old bolt was. I use the penny washer just to make sure it doesn't pull through. I also used an auger drill bit to make a hole in line with the bolt through the spacer, big enough for the ring of a 10mm spanner to fit through. With that done, it's time to remount the bumper and see if my plan works. Okay, I offer the bumper up, ensuring I get the locators in place, and I push it on. Now to check the replacement bolts are lined up, and they appear to be. Now I put a nut and washer on the end of the new bolts and do them up. Using the hole I made, I push a 10mm ring spanner into the hole to hold the bolt while I'm doing up the nut. It works a treat, and the job takes no time at all. So now to screw everything else back in. So the 7mm bolts under the tailgate, the Torx screws, I think they're T25s, under the wheel arch, and don't forget the Phillips screws underneath the bumper at the back. And also remember to pop the lamps back into the bumper lights and give them a twist, as you would if you were changing the bulb. Saves you taking out the light housings and possibly breaking those clips like I would. Well, with all that done, it doesn't look too bad. Pretty much looks the same as it did before I started.